Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day. Bit of a thought, bit of a rant this one. It's all about Thomas Frank being quite frank in his post-match press conference following a defeat at St James's Park 1-0 to Newcastle United from a Callum Wilson penalty. Now I can understand why Frank might be a little bit pissed off, and I do like Thomas Frank for what it's worth. I think he's very eccentric, he's very animated. He kind of reminds me of a crazy conductor of an orchestra or something like that. You know, if he wasn't a football manager, that would be his job 100%. But he's let himself down a little bit, I think, in the press conference. So he's obviously been talking about the defeat. He's obviously upset, annoyed. The penalty itself, let's get to the penalty itself. The penalty, you could say, was a little bit soft, right? In many eyes, you could say that. But just before that, we get a goal disallowed from the goalkeeper, the Brentford goalkeeper, being made a tracing paper. Really comes out, trying to collect a cross, makes an absolute fucking hash of it. Looks like he's trying to take something out of the oven, oven gloves on, drops a ball. Callum Wilson puts it away, and the goal gets disallowed because goalkeepers are massively overprotected in football. Wilson even said that in his post-match interview as well. So obviously that goes in Brentford's favour. That should be a goal in my opinion. I'm sorry, it should. I know he's saying you can't put your arm up anywhere near the goalkeeper and all that kind of stuff, but they are massively overprotected. They're an outfield player just like everybody else, and they should be treated just like everybody else. And that's why I go back to my penalty analysis. So when the penalty happens, as a goalkeeper, much like when you come out in your box to catch a ball, you know if somebody touches you, breathes on you, tells you your hair looks bad, they're probably going to get a free kick blown up against them, right? But as a goalkeeper, you should know if you rush out in any way, shape or form to an oncoming player and they go to ground, there's a really good chance that you're going to give away a penalty. And that's exactly what happened. Did Gordon stick a leg out? Of course he stuck a leg out. He's an attacking player with a bit of a brain, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's knocking the ball around. He knows he's probably not going to keep that ball in play. He's probably going to overrun that ball. As fast as Gordon is, he ain't that fast. But the keeper's made his mind up front by flying out the way he has recklessly. Gordon's seen it, took an opportunity, accepted the invitation, stuck a leg out, and it's a penalty. It's a penalty all day long, and that's a penalty in most football games. So I can understand Thomas Frank being a little bit disappointed by it, but you got away with one just before that, Thomas. You got away with one just before that. The fact that your goalkeepers are massively overprotected. These motherfuckers are such an endangered species. I think David Attenborough's going to start commentating on goalkeepers. Honestly, if you're going to come out and catch a ball, catch a ball. If you're going to drop a ball, that's your fucking bad, mate, and that's your problem if the goal goes in the back, the ball goes in the back of the net and it's a goal. So I'm sick of these goalkeepers getting all this protection. It really pisses me off. It really does. But the penalty for me, like I say, yes, it's soft. If it goes against us at the run, we're probably pissed off and all. But if a keeper comes flying out, a keeper is running the risk of giving away a penalty. And that's exactly what the Brentford goalkeeper did. Now, where Thomas Frank has let himself down isn't really on that, because that is understandable, as most opposing managers would be annoyed that they've played really well at St James's Park, which is a tough place to come for any team, regardless of the form that we're on. They've played really well. They've been in the game a lot. I think they've had chances. We haven't peppered their goal. They've defended really well. They've been structured really well. So Thomas Frank was probably thinking, it's a perfect away performance, maybe catch us on the break, nick a goal, 1-0, job done, back down to London. But it didn't happen that way. So I understand his frustration, but where he's let himself down a bit is a couple of incidents. Now, the first one is when he dug out the ball boys, and he said, if you have all these new rules in the game, then if the ball boys don't want to give the ball back, you should add an extra minute there, which is a bit weird, I must admit. Thomas Frank having a go at like a 9-year-old Ben or something for not giving the ball back is a little bit odd. He's not quite Eden Hazard wrestling to the ground in that Chelsea game, but that's a little bit weird. That I know you're upset that you've got beat, but maybe not take it out on 9 to 10-year-old lads or lasses on the side of the pitch, which is a bit odd. And the other one is something that a well-known Northeast journalist raised. I've been trying to find the footage. Actually, I couldn't find the footage, but I'm going to take it as read as what the journalist said is correct. So in the post-match conference, he was asked by a journalist for this newspaper who happened to have a regional accent when he asked the question about the penalty, and Thomas Frank basically met that with, oh, well, you wanted it to be, didn't you? You know, insinuating because, you know, the journalist had a Northeast accent that they wanted, you know, that to be a penalty. I mean, for all you know, Frank could be a Middlesbrough fan or a Sunderland fan, for all you know, or maybe North Shields or Whitley Bay, who knows? But they've just obviously assumed that because they've got a Northeast accent that they were happy that the penalty was given and the game was won. And listen, there might be Newcastle fans, right? But in that instance, they're doing a professional job, and it's not up to you, Thomas Frank, to to question their integrity professionally, whether they're asking you that question as a Newcastle fan or as a journalist. They're asking you that question as a journalist. Simple as that, really. Jurgen Klopp tried this shit apparently a couple of weeks ago for a very well-known Northeast journalist, which I did see and hear off the back of his video. And it's really poor. I mean, my advice to any managers out there is do not be like Jurgen Klopp. The guy is an ultra fucking wanker. He really is. His ego is eating himself. So don't be like Jurgen Klopp and attack journalists for asking simple questions. I saw a video about that the other day. Somebody asked him a normal question. He snapped at them and all that as well. That guy is rancid. He really is. And the media should stop playing up to him. Sky and TNT Sports and all these other people. Stop hanging off his arse hair and tell him to be better and stop acting like a fucking dick. And Thomas Frank, the same as well. The guy's asking you a normal question as a journalist. Answer the question as a professional manager and don't make it something that it isn't really, and accuse the guy of wanting a penalty just because he may have a Northeast accent. That's really poor from Thomas Frank, and I think you need to be better on that one, Thomas. But that was just my take on his press conference. I mean, I understand his frustration, but I think all these managers need to be a little bit better here when it comes to, conducting yourself in a post-match conference. It's easy for me to say this because he's our manager, but I think Eddie Howe oozes class, eloquence in his post-match, even if he's been extremely hard done by. Look at the Liverpool game a couple of weeks ago when Trent should have got a red card. Eddie wasn't out there giving it this and giving it that and everything else and accusing, whatever journalists who maybe have a Scouse accent of favouritism or anything like that. That's not the way Eddie plays the game. So be better, Thomas Frank. Be better than that. You're a good manager. You've got a lot of good qualities and you let yourself down a little bit there, mate. So that was just my take on this, guys. This is the kind of thing you like. Smash like. Why not subscribe? Be a member if you fancy it as well. Loads of Newcastle United content coming this week. We're back in the Champions League. If you didn't know, get in. Tuesday night against Milan. We'll be doing a post-match review straight after that. Mark and I will be discussing the Milan game and what's going on Monday at 10 p.m. So make sure you tune into that. Have a cracking day wherever you are, everyone, and we'll catch you later. Cheers, bye.